Hi everyone, this is Mr. Zirkle, and this video discusses fertility rates. The human population is growing exponentially. One factor related to population change that we want to take an in-depth look at is fertility rate. Demographers, who are people who study human population, distinguish between two different types of fertility rates. There's total fertility rate, or TFR, and then there's replacement level fertility rate. We'll take a look at both of these in the upcoming slides. Total fertility rate is the average number of children born to women of childbearing age. The current total fertility rate for the world is 2.4. This means that on average, women have somewhere between 2 and 3 children, or 2.4 to be exact. Total fertility rate has been falling steadily since the mid-20th century. In 1950, the world's total fertility rate averaged around 5 and it's since fallen to 2.4. The total fertility rate varies significantly across the world. In the United States, for example, TFR is 1.8, while in Nigeria, it's 5.5. Why is there such a big difference in the total fertility rate? Well, for many reasons that we've already spoken about. Total fertility rate is affected by a number of factors, most of which we've discussed in previous video. And these factors vary the TFR based on the region of the world we're examining. For example, in much of Africa, including Nigeria, children are an important part of the labor force. Since many couples need to survive on less than $3 a day, they have a large number of children to help haul drinking water, gather wood for cooking and heating, or to grow or find food. Another economic factor is the cost of raising and educating children. In more developed countries like the United States, raising children is costly because they don't enter the workforce until they're in their late teens or 20s. The cost of raising a child to the age of 18 in the United States is about $245,000. That doesn't include college, that's only up until the age of 18. Because of the costly nature of raising children in these countries, fertility rates are lower. Educational and employment opportunities also factor in. Total fertility rates tend to be low when women have access to education and employment outside the home. In less developed countries, a woman with no education typically has 2 more children than does a woman with a high school education. Urbanization also plays a role. People living in urban areas usually have access to family planning services and tend to have fewer children than those in rural areas. Finally, other factors that affect total fertility rates include family planning services, average age of marriage, and religious beliefs. The second type of fertility rate that demographers study is replacement level fertility rate. It's the average number of children that couples must bear in order to replace themselves. Now, you might think that this sounds like a foregone conclusion. I mean, a couple needs to have 2 children in order to replace themselves, right? Actually, you'd be wrong. It's slightly higher than 2 because some children die before reaching their reproductive years, especially in the world's poorest countries. Replacement level fertility rate, therefore, is typically about 2.1. A population with a fertility rate at replacement level is considered to be relatively stable. It's not growing significantly, it's not declining significantly. This is the number that we want to shoot for, ideally, if we want to get human population under control. However, even if we reached a global replacement level fertility rate of 2.1 tomorrow, it would not bring an immediate halt to population growth. This is because there would still be a large number of potential mothers under the age of 15 who would eventually move into their reproductive years. One last thing I want to touch on in this video is infant mortality rates. It's the number of babies per 1,000 born who die before their first birthday. Infant mortality rate is viewed as one of the best indicators of a society's quality of life, because it indicates the general level of nutrition and health care in that country. A high infant mortality rate usually indicates insufficient food, poor nutrition, and infectious diseases. In areas with low infant mortality rate, women tend to have fewer children because fewer of their children die at an early age. Infant mortality rates have declined dramatically in most countries. Between 1900 and 2017, the infant mortality rate in the United States dropped from 165 to 5.8. However, more than 40 other nations have lower infant mortality rates than the United States, and we'll talk a little bit more about why this is in class. All right, well, that's the end of this video. If you have any other questions or concerns, please email us, and we'll see you soon.